Hey y'all, it's Miss Katie. Welcome to Heritage Ways, and this is June. June is the month that is usually considered Dairy Month, where we recognize our dairy farmers and we talk a lot about all the wonderful dairy products that we can make at home. So today I want to show you something that you can do easily at home. There are many ways that you can make butter. You can make butter with or without certain pieces of equipment. You can make butter with or without electricity. But the fun thing is, it only takes one ingredient to make butter. So I'm going to show you just one way today that you can make butter at home. It is so easy and it's fun for anybody in the whole family. I'm Miss Katie and this is Heritage Ways. At Heritage Ways, I support, encourage, and teach homemakers and teach homemaking skills. So you are welcome here if you are at any age or stage in your homemaking. And that can be male or female because we also share skills that some consider homesteading skills. And if any of the homemaking or homesteading skills appeals to you, I invite you to join the community of Heritage Ways. Hit that subscribe button. Today, I want to share with you a piece of equipment. Now, this video is not sponsored. I paid for this piece of equipment myself. So I'm able to tell you what I really think about it, which I always do anyway. I don't share anything that I have not tried, but I want to show you how this works. This is the Kilner butter churn, and it is, you can see the size of it. It is not a really large one, and it is excellent, in my opinion, to have at home if you just want to make maybe a small amount of butter. Why would we want to make butter at home? Because it just tastes better. You know what kind of cream has gone into it. You know how old it is. And just the satisfaction of learning new skills and being able to make something at home. I just bought this at Aldi. This is heavy whipping cream. Most of the heavy whipping cream that I find is pasteurized. It's not ultra pasteurized, which that's a pretty good thing in my book. You want whipping cream that has a higher amount of fat. Usually 36% is a good high amount. So if you can find somewhere around that, that would be great. I also want to show you that you cannot use milk. You cannot use homogenized. You cannot use unhomogenized. You cannot use pasteurized, unpasteurized, whole milk, skim milk. You cannot use milk. Butter is made from the fat that is in cream. Now, homogenized milk is what you're going to find at the store, and it's probably going to say pasteurized and homogenized. Homogenized is a process that occurred in a factory whereby the result is that the cream is suspended in the milk. So the cream and the milk are combined and the cream does not rise to the top. Non-homogenized means the cream rises to the top, which is a natural process. You might hear the saying, the cream of the crop. Well, that gets its name from the idea that the cream rises to the top. The best comes to the top. That's what happens naturally when you have milk that has not been homogenized. So you can have raw milk if you have your own milk cow and the cream rises to the top. You take that cream and that's what you're going to use to make butter. Or anybody can go to the grocery store and get heavy whipping cream. That is not half and half. That is not coffee creamer. It's heavy whipping cream. I do have one other tip. You want to do your best to try to get something as close to the ingredients that just says cream. You want to do your best to try to find some that does not have added stabilizers or preservatives. This one actually does have gelum gum. Some have others. You want to try to avoid those if you can. This one says less than 0.5% of gelum gum. So that, my friends, is what we are about to pour into our Kilner butter churn. So we have our Kilner butter churn. I'm just going to take this off, and I'm simply going to fill this with as much cream as I'd like, except I don't want to go past, I only want to fill it about 3/4 full or less. This is a scant quart of cream, the heavy whipping cream. So it looks like, I'm going to stop there. That's about 3/4 full, and I think we're okay to add those last few dribbles there. Simply going to put this on. Anybody can make this, any stage, age or stage. If you're a beginner butter maker or you've been making it a while, and all you do is just going to turn the crank. One thing I like about this is this particular product is that it has the handle that I can hold on to. It's best to not stop, but if you had to stop, that's fine. And I want to tell you one benefit of using this particular churn that I'm finding. I can use it without electricity, and I don't have to shake a jar. Shaking a jar is without electricity as well, but I don't have to have electricity. The gears are really smooth. I mean, it just moves smoothly. I'm only using these 2 fingers. Another benefit, because I can also use my KitchenAid if I wanted to, but that would use electricity, of course, and it would splatter everywhere. So I have to make sure to cover the KitchenAid with a towel if I'm using it. One thing is, and I didn't really do this with this particular cream, but it's kind of important and very helpful to have your cream at room temperature if you can. It will take less amount of time to churn the butter. Now the first step you're going to see is whipped cream, which if that's what you want to create, that's fine. If you want to create whipped cream, you can absolutely do it in this. And you are just basically whipping the cream and then go from there to serve it, to use it. But the steps past whipped cream are going to be butter. Honestly, the time it takes to churn this butter, it really depends on a lot of things. The temperature in your kitchen, the humidity in the kitchen, the temperature of the cream itself. You can start to feel it thicken. What you've done now is you've whipped air into the cream, causing whipped cream, resulting in whipped cream. That's some good stuff right there. The cream will start to deflate, lose the air that you've whipped into it, and you will actually feel and hear a difference when that change takes place. It'll start to become a little bit harder to churn as it becomes thicker, and the solids begin to combine and separate from the buttermilk. There are lots of things you can do with that buttermilk, and this gives that arm a workout. You can switch arms. You can use that buttermilk in baked goods. Some people drink it. It's not the same as what you buy at the store. It's starting to separate. You can see the butter against the paddles there. It is starting to separate, and the liquid is buttermilk, but we've got a ways to go until there's a clear definition between the buttermilk and the solids, the butter. Oh my, look at that. We have butter. It's not the final step, but we do have butter. And the next steps will be to preserve the butter and flavor the butter. So you just want to get it off of the paddles here. Now set the buttermilk aside. You can use it in your baking breads, and so forth. So it's very good. If you have no other ideas and you have pets, you can give it to the pets, especially the chickens. So it's really good byproduct. You might want to get a slotted spoon to make sure all the solids are out, but I think I got them all. Now we're going to wash the butter. Now you'll see this still has some buttermilk in it, and sometimes it's clearer than that, but we have a good amount of butter in here. And you can use, I have this tool that a friend of mine sent me from Kentucky, but you can also use butter paddles, and I got these at Lehman's, one of my very favorite stores in the world. As a matter of fact, that's where you can get this butter churn as well, so that is good to know. So I'm going to strain off this bit of buttermilk, and then I'm going to show you how we wash it. Wash the butter. Now I don't use my hands to wash the butter because the warmth of my hands could cause it to soften, and I don't want that. So I have some cold water. You could use ice water, and I'm going to pour this water over the butter. We're in the bowl, and the cold water is going to prevent it from melting. And this is my great grandmother's butter paddle, and you can get ones like these in various stores as well. Lehman's is one of those places. In fact, I'll put a link down below in my description box where you can travel over to Lehman's there on your internet, and you can find a lot of these, some of my favorite products there, using our Lehman's affiliate link. Costs you nothing extra to use an affiliate link, but it does help the creator when you use those links. So thanks for doing that. All right, so I'm going to wash this several times, and that involves pressing the butter together in cold water. And you can use whatever. This is best really for a larger amount of butter. So, you know, like I said, you can use different things. You can use the back of a wooden spoon, and a lot of people do use their hands. I just find that the butter softens too easily. So after several washes, this water is going to be clear. So I'm going to dump this out, and we're going to add some more water and start all over. And then when the water is clear, that means that you have rinsed or washed all of the remaining buttermilk out of the butter. Now I want to tell you a little secret. At this point, you don't have to wash the the butter, if you're going to use it right away. Say you make this one morning and you want it for supper, for your steamed broccoli or your homemade bread or your baked potato or your homemade noodles or your store-bought noodles. You do not have to wash this butter. I don't know if other folks will tell you that, but it's true, you don't. This butter just preserves it, this washing preserves the butter a little bit longer. I'm going to dump this water out. Now this is the last washing. Honestly, I think I've only done 5 at the most, but I think this is number 4. And I've read that a lot of people do more than that. But it just, you know, you can tell that the water is clear. So there's not any more buttermilk to release. I'm going to pour this off, finish it up, and we're ready to use it, refrigerate it, or freeze it. I'm going to return this butter to the bowl, and I am going to add the salt. Now, I only use Redmond real salt in everything I do, everything. Whether it's canning, cooking, baking, that's what I do. So in this, it's a little less than a quart. A quart of cream makes roughly a pound of butter, but this is going to be a little bit less than a pound. Now, in a pound of butter, we use approximately, or I would say up to, a teaspoon of salt. And you can learn to measure in your hand like that. And I'm going to use a little bit less because it is a little bit less than a pound. And I'm just going to mix that salt in with the paddle. Again, not with my hands, just because I don't want to melt the butter. Now, you do not have to salt it. You can absolutely use it unsalted. I want to thank you for joining me today, but before we say goodbye, I want to say a shout out and hello to my young homemaker and training friend, Alyssa. I met Alyssa last fall when I did a workshop. I taught a workshop at the summit, the Food Independent Summit by Superb Industries. Alyssa's mother contacted me after the fact and told me that Alyssa had also made butter at home several times after she attended my workshop. So I want to say hello to Alyssa. It's several months later, Alyssa, but I hope you are still churning that butter. I'm so proud of you. And I'm so proud of everybody who is willing to try making homemade butter. I hope you're counting your blessings, but y'all, this certainly is a blessing. I'll talk to you next time. Be sure to check the links in the description box down below. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you next time. Homogenized is a process that in a factory somewhere they did, they combined everything, all the okay. This stuff is really good, Mr. Patient. Would you ever just eat butter?
Yeah, if I had a biscuit.
If you had a biscuit. It's healthy.
So is a biscuit.
So is a biscuit.